Within the first 84 episodes, we have located thousands of miles of tunnel systems all over the world. And today, we find an article written 21 years ago stating that the rumored existence of huge networks of tunnels are located beneath Iraq, where it stretches for miles, linking palaces, where we are told that there are no lights, just like we've talked about in episode 84, constructing 18 levels underground, in the dark, centuries before the invention of a light bulb. 100% challenges the mainstream historical narrative. Understanding that no human could ever construct a massive network of tunnels in the dark. We have found something massive. It seems like there may have been a much different reason for going over to Iraq than what we've all been told. Where Mr. Rumsfeld, at the time, the U.S. Defense Secretary, said, they've got enormous miles and miles and miles of underground tunneling. Continuing on to say, I don't know how inspectors on the surface of the earth can even know what's going on in the underground facilities. Now, we know that the United States has massive tunnel systems all over its major cities. We have found this right here on this channel. We know that they knew about this at least 150 years ago when they introduced these tunnels into our mainstream narrative, naming some of them catacombs, saying others were constructed for phone cables by the Illinois or Chicago Tunnel Company. So, if they knew that the United States held old world tunnel systems, they had to have known that these were all over the world. I personally think that they wanted to go to Iraq to see what technology, what information was being stored in their tunnel systems. I think that they probably found things in their own tunnel systems in the USA and fully mapped them out, blocking them off from the public. And now they wanted access to possibly one of the most important historical locations in the world. I think this may have been what 2001 was truly all about. Where the article continues on to say, we believe now that it is more than 100 kilometers or 62 miles, which is very interesting when we look back at Chicago, when we were told that it was thousands of miles of tunnels. And then later on, they tell us that it's only 60 miles. So basically, hiding the rest of the tunnel systems from us. A very clear pattern. 100 kilometers of very complex network, multi-layered tunnels, where we are seeing now that all of these tunnel systems are not just one layer. They are all multiple levels, where according to Patrick, few people have seen the tunnels. Now, I want to explain something. This is an important time for us to show these old world tunnel systems to everybody in the world, because they are in the middle of normalizing tunnels, which would completely saturate the entire topic. At the moment, we are not used to the tunnels being underneath all of our major cities. But after the Boring Company, or whoever else starts digging under our cities again, these tunnels from the old world are not going to be shocking anymore. It will be normal, where we know that it is not normal to have multiple layered tunnel systems from the old world. And in 10 to 15 years, I don't believe we will ever be able to go back to this point again. We have shown the caves in India, and then you can piece together Afghanistan as well, where this whole war was all about finding a guy in the caves, most likely destroying the old world caves in Afghanistan, and the tunnels, artifacts, and the rest that we have shown in episode 84, where the article closes out saying, after encountering the caves used by this group, which we can all read, in this group, in Afghanistan, and the rumors of tunnels in Iraq, the U.S. military took steps to ready their troops, going on to say a site including miles of old mining caves in the desert of Southern California was turned into a tunnel warfare center in 2001. Miles of old mining caves in Southern California. Are we sure that these were not found before the mining took place? When they say gold rush, was this not a rush to find all of the old world technology, all of the old world gold? Before this research, I thought what we saw on the ground was basically all that there was to this place that we live. I had no idea that there were thousands of miles of underground structures in Chicago alone. I had no idea that every single city had tunnel systems, connecting palaces. I had no idea that the history told us that humans built underground tunnel networks, reaching 18 levels underground in the dark with a shovel. And we have been told that that's easy. It's absolute nonsense, and we are just getting started. Welcome to episode 85 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day, and if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app. I'll put the link right in the description. And you can use my referral code, MLB. If you click the Tartaria button, you'll see the My Lunch Break playlist right here. The app is awesome. Thank you to Rebecca K, Don Gaston, Christopher Arietta, The Lady Lacey Show, David and Sherry Ferguson, Edwin Johnson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, Stephanie Nolan, The Burlesons, Suez KC, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Edward and Brianna, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glasscock, PKTFnews.org, Regna Saturna, Dendries NL, Juana Mesher, Sirius Feline, G Power, Natalie Shippenoff, Amberson EMC, HK Sue, Isaac Wright, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Clayton Lamar, Ultimus Maximus, Noble Task Homestead, John Adams, Easy and Whitney, Roberts O'Zolins, Crypto Schizo, Rick Tapkey, Jesse DeLeon, Blake, Billy Prater, Magnus, Paraplegic Coffee, The Phoenix Art, Jetski Chuck, The Arnolds, 3D6.Space, Attila Power, VKH Bonner, Bell's Clarions for God, Forbidden Gecko Love, Justin Grobner Grubb, Leah Strong, Peter Batani, Dakota Dunn, Eric Martinez, Ivan Apoctoli, Jim Bro, Edwin Rice, Helmut, Charles Kruger, Glenn Gunderson, EdgarT-shirts.com, Meta, Jason Hochberg, Marie C, ValleyMedicinals.com, Kyle Logan, Alina and Chris the IT Guy, Ron Mower, David and Irene, Michael Dingyu, Patriot Armory, Tom O'Hara, Wayne T, Michael D. Connor, William Royal, C3SCOB, Ancient Tallow, Jeffrey Temple, Lil Miss, SonyaDane.com, Thad Luop, James Alt, Bucksui, Big Pasty, Jason Prest, TheGoldenTeacher.co, Papa One, Suki Warrior, We the People, Migs, Babo, Coat C, Miss Rex is Murphy, John Adams is Baldwin, Mark Chapman, Muji and Declan, Ariana Oates, Jenica Joyce, Nathan Burba, Ski, Joey K, Code Drenth, Frizz Tickle, Mousy Mouse Cheese Records, The Sovereign, Debreus, Charlie, Kimberly Bruce, Natasha C, K Moore, Dan McGee, Vince Moreno, Shiba Shaba in the Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. Let's go to a much more recent article, January 2024, where the Times of Israel reports that senior Israel defense officials now assess that Hamas's Gaza tunnel network is between 350 and 450 miles long, far longer than previously believed. And I want to remind you all that this is what is being exposed to all of us. I believe that this tunnel network goes down multiple levels, just like we have shown, and extends much further than 450 miles. And what we see on the ground is nothing compared to what is going on under our feet. And then you wonder where the missing individuals go, where I think we know now. These catacombs could for sure just be all of us. Years and years of being taken. And once that section of the tunnel fills up in their geometric shapes, they just move on to the next section. And then they open it up for ticket sales, like we have shown. It can't get any clearer, if I'm being honest. Now, with all the technology that these governments have, you would think that they would be able to do some ground penetrating radar and see how extensive these tunnel systems are without ever even going there. I believe this is all nonsense, that they are just finding new tunnels now, where the estimate reported by the New York Times is markedly higher than the Israel Defense Forces assessment. They say there was 250 miles of Hamas tunnels last month, and this month it's 450 miles long. So in 3 years, what do you think it's going to be? These tunnels are massive, and they go many floors down, connecting all over the world. If the public can own ground penetrating radar, the governments can probably see 1,000 feet under the dirt, if we're just being honest. Could you imagine, with the technology that we have today, they still have to send a dog in there to sniff it out? Come on. 2 Israel defense officials, who spoke anonymously, said there were roughly 5,700 separate shafts leading down into the tunnels. This is just incredible information. Understanding that these tunnels aren't a single level. Understanding that they go down so many floors underneath our feet and are all interconnected. This is unbelievable. In every single situation we see this. Some people have been taken into these tunnels and of course didn't make it, where Israeli forces have worked to destroy the tunnels. Again, my guess, after everything that we have seen, is that so many have been taken into these tunnels and have never come out again, where the tunnels connect below an area of the school. So we can see this is just a very dark subject in today's time, where I'm going to try my best and lob this out there for anyone that is not understanding what I'm trying to say. According to the Child Crime Prevention and Safety Center, every 40 seconds, someone under 18 goes missing or is abducted. In the US alone, approximately 840,000 go missing each year, and the FBI states that between 85 and 90% of them are not adults. So, where do they all go? Information is very important. A triangle system, finding tunnels below the schools, below hospitals, below the place of worship, where we know that this is not singled out to one city. This is all over the world. There is not a single thing that I have shared today that you couldn't go and find yourself. These things are all available to the public. Putting the pieces together is what we are doing here. And in order to do that, it takes time and a team. And this is where you all come in. All of our Patreons, all of our badge members, and every single subscriber, and everybody who likes the videos. Because of all of you, we are growing to a bigger and bigger audience every single week. Our equipment has improved. Our team has gotten bigger. And we're not even to 100 episodes yet. We're just getting started. And we've already mapped out what is on the surface and 18 levels below it. Can you even imagine what we will find as we continue to grow? We are also over on X, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and of course, Rumble, where I still think that when we reach 100,000 subscribers over there, we should try to do another 1-hour special like we did in episode 77. If we get enough positive feedback about that in the comments section, we can definitely try to make that happen. Now, do you really think that these tunnels are stopping at borders? Do you think they get to the border and say, okay guys, we hit the border between Mexico and the USA. This is where we have to stop digging. Do you think that that imaginary line is stopping anybody 100 feet below the surface? Who is even keeping track of where they are on the land layout 100 feet below the surface? In my opinion, tunnels are 100%, without a doubt, crossing over imaginary borders, not just in the USA, Canada, or Mexico, but all over the world. And this has been going on for years, and they are all aware of this. They know that tunnels exist and are openly sharing this information with all of us. So do you think that these tunnels in these cities are just stopping there? Of course not. It's all so interesting and shows how in depth this place that we all live really is and always has been. Again, we know that these tunnels are not just hallways. They are not a single level. An article written by BBC in 2020, where US officials say They have discovered the longest tunnel ever found on the border with Mexico, where this tunnel stretched 1,313 miles. The tunnel, of course, had a lift, rail tracks, where I'm sure the Chicago Tunnel Company had to get back into business and was hard at work. They had a drainage and air ventilation system and high voltage electrical cables. Again, in my opinion, these tunnels have been here for a very long time. I don't believe that our civilization are the sole creators of these networks of tunnels. Surely we have added to them, but I believe that this land layout that we all live on is filled with old world tunnel systems that connect all of the old buildings, exactly like we were told in episode 80.
Hey, my dad is the night supervisor at Marshall Fields. Maybe they have an opening. And they did. And they did. There's water in the Pittsfield building, and Marshall Fields, and the City Hall, and this place and that place. And we don't know where it's coming from. And I thought, I know. All those places had one thing in common. All older buildings, all older buildings, all older buildings, all older buildings that were connected to the freight tunnels still.
And they have been here all along from the previous civilization. They found these so-called smuggling tunnels, yet they found no drugs and nobody was arrested. How can you call it a smuggling tunnel if you don't find any drugs and nobody was arrested? It doesn't make any sense. So are we sure these are smuggling tunnels? Or are these old world tunnels that have gotten some cables installed? And then authorities, of course, did not say who they thought was behind the creation of the tunnels. They don't seem to know much about it, where it was not clear how long it took to build it. This tunnel has an average depth of 70 feet below the surface, and this is what we are told. Now, we have a bonus today. Switching gears here, we are told about the Griffin. We know how it's connected to Russia, Asia, and of course Tartaria. And this gets interesting, where the Griffin and Arimaspians were associated with gold deposits of Central Asia, where Tartaria was located. Now, this group were a legendary tribe of one-eyed people. Again, going back to the gold rush that we were all told about, going to California, where all tales of their struggles with the gold guarding griffins guarding the gold. So is this the reason that Tartaria and griffins are not taught to us today, considering the possibility of a season that is little, where the griffin is considered a protector from evil, witchcraft, and secret slander, where that seems like the time period we're currently in? Clearly a creature that was here, shown at the St. Mark's Basilica, another one at the Ripon Cathedral in England, and of course, a photo from 2007, a griffin statue in the front court of a cemetery located in Budapest, the Royal Air Force Police Badge in the United Kingdom, a griffin right here in the middle, and a map where we are told from 1587, Urbano Monti's map, a map that has some strange creatures, massive birds carrying elephants in South America, a map that depicts South America connected to Antarctica, where we know something massive is there now, and a griffin depicted right here in North America, modern day Canada, and another one right here with so many different types of creatures located in Antarctica. And there is so much written on each one of these triangles. If anybody can read these and let me know what they say, that would be incredible. You have the USA right here with La Florida, Canada, Gulf of Mexico. This map is incredibly detailed with an interesting section right here where you have a guy coming out of the water and something else going on here right above Brazil. There are only 3 surviving copies of this world map today. They are located at Stanford University and have been recently digitized. This is, by the way, a 10-foot map. It was originally 60 separated sheets and have now been put together to make one photo. Now, it is interesting to note, this is a map of the Earth on a flat map. It is not a ball. It shows the Earth circling around the North Pole, with every direction away from the central point, the North Pole, being south. There's a magnetic pole in the north, where this map was created to serve not only as a geographical tool, but also show climate, customs, length of day, distances within regions, where the whole map could be stuck on a central point, the North Pole, and then revolve around this central pivot point, where it of course had cities all over it in red, and of course massive palace-like structures. And then flipping to the next page, we have this, a diagram showing the detailed length of days and nights during the different months of the year, eclipses of the sun on the next page, and even a chart showing wind directions throughout the year. These maps are so interesting. I could honestly look at them all day. And I'm gonna end this episode right here. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll be back next Saturday as always, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya.